Again, we'd like to say welcome to another edition of the program, The Bottom Line, and we come your way every Tuesday and Friday. You can follow us on. Somebody's having echo, please, or try to adjust your speaker. You can follow us on Facebook and on YouTube on The Bottom Line. And I have a host of panelists here tonight, along with our guests, Mr. Ase Tupa. But let me just start with Paul in the UK. Paul, how you doing?
Well, good evening and good afternoon. I'm doing good. How are you? It's good to have you all on. It's good to see you. It's been a while now, and welcome on Bottom Line.
Okay. And Chima, can you hear us? Okay, Chima will be, I think, sorting out things. But in the meantime, Mr. Asik Va Tupa, I'd like to say welcome to the bottom line.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Very good. And my name is Limford Goer, and I'm coming to you from Norway. Tonight we're going to be covering a wide range of topics, and as we discuss, we will be bringing out new things that probably were not on our plates. But let's start with Mr. Asik Va Tupa. You are in the United States. Are you doing well?
There's no other thing to do but well. So
That's a good one. And let's get started. You left Liberia recently,
yeah.
to go to the United States, and the condition under which you left Liberia, um, it was kind of uncertain. A lot of people say Mr. Asif Tupa was escaping Liberia, uh, and so he was arrested, or as other people may say, he was um, taken into care, a careful custody. That is not arrested, but they took you to take care of you. I know you've been telling this story to many people, but you have not told me. You have not told Paul. You have not told our audience. So we want to delve into what really happened and how did Asim Fatupa end up in the great United States of America from Liberia?
Uh, so I will give you the kind of shortened version.
Yeah, just a short one.
Basically with the situation with the book we wrote, George Weah, the dream, the legend, the rise to power. Um, Based on our research, interviews, we had a section there that referred to George Weah discussing his wife, right? And we included that in the book. And there was a reaction to it. Unfortunately, sometimes, and some people were genuinely probably offended by the terminology, but there's a whole bunch of fake outrage about some things, right? So all the murders, the rapes, the sexual and gender-based violence, the sex for grades, all the abuses to women that happen in the country. I've never seen an outrage, like that before. Um, so in order to avoid, you know, how should I say, the noise or attention on Mr. Cummings, um, we agreed to a resignation, and I issued my resignation, and I decided to leave the capital with all the noise, and in that short time frame, I have gotten so many texts and stuff from different people that my life was in danger, and I needed to leave the country. I needed to leave Monrovia. Shouldn't sleep home that night. Significant amount of information were coming towards that, and I was not that, perturbed or concerned because I really didn't feel that level of threat. But in hindsight, it was legitimate. It was real. But based on the pressure from, people who care for me and love me, I decided to leave town, not sleep at home, and go, outside of Montserrat to Cape Mount. And while traveling, I was at the training checkpoint, and the officer asked me to step down. I guess they had my pictures or whatever. He asked me who I was. I told him who I was. He asked me for my documents. I had my wallet with me with my U.S. license and Liberian license. I gave it to him. Um, he said I should wait. I said, "Why am I waiting?" He said, "Well, I got to call my bosses and stuff like that." So he was making calls for a while, trying to get through. I guess the network was not that good. Eventually, he got connected with some people. But before that, he had asked me where I was going. I was trying to go, to Bessa. It's a town near there that's where I was supposed to meet some people and just relax there. And the bosses came, in a black vehicle. They got me from where they didn't handcuff me or anything. They told me to get outside and step in the vehicle and get in the vehicle. I did. Then while in the vehicle, he had one person sitting by me on my right side and another on my left. But then they eventually decided we're not going to bring that person on my left back. So he got down. As he got down, the commander, who was the driver, turned around and asked the guy, "So you got your weapon on you, right?" As if to intimidate me or whatever. So, he said yes. So we drove, went to the Waterside border point. And just to clarify, they drove me there. I was not at the border at all. They drove me there. It was probably about 11:30, maybe 11:45. And they had me basically, they arrested me and had me in detention because I'm free to go anywhere I want to go in Liberia. It should not be a situation where you say you're trying to, seek somebody's safety or protect them. On what basis are you protecting me? You say I'm high profile. What makes me high profile that you have to protect me? So if I on Gurley Street or all the different ghettos I go to in the night to talk to some of our disadvantaged brothers and sisters, do you come and rescue me and protect me? Saying Wester is, a criminal area. And I'm like, I've never heard any kind of crime or increased crime rate from the Western area. So, I just accepted it. We're there 6 o'clock in the morning. He brought the phone to me, said McGill wanted to talk to me. I was like, yeah, what's up? We're not after you. You're free to go in the morning and all kind of things. So I didn't even say much to McGill. In the morning, time to leave. They said, no, I can't leave. I said, why? He said, he had given my license and, my 2 licenses to one of the guys who were there and the guy when I around. So they got to 8 o'clock, 8:30, and I kind of lost track of the time because I didn't even have my phones with me. And eventually, the press came, because by that time, I guess people were aware all around the country, around the world, what was going on. There was a lot of calls and a lot of pressure and everything like that, where I guess it was like my life was in danger now, and they had to make sure I was protected. That was the story they were giving. So they were in there trying to have a press conference. And then while having a press conference, he said, "Oh, the man is not arrested. We'll just have him, just for his own protection." I said, "Oh, so I'm not arrested? Okay, let me leave." Then somebody to the door blocking me and stuff. And I said, "No, you say I'm not arrested. So, I got to leave." "Oh, no, we got to escort you." So they had the whole thing about escorting me. It took another hour for us to go through that. That they had to escort me to Monrovia. And eventually, they were waiting for a car to come or whatever because they couldn't use his car. So we got a ride with a spoon car. The immigration guy was in the car with me. We started going, and there was a police escort supposedly coming to take me. And then we bypassed them. We thought they were turning around, but I guess they didn't turn around. They went all the way to the border, and they told them that we had left. So they followed us. They got us at one of the checkpoints. But what's funny is at the checkpoint we were at, because they had called ahead, I guess, to stop us. We the guy who was driving the car from Spoon FM, he was not unwilling to stop, but they said we should park, right? And on the side, the sun had started coming. It was hot, no shade, nothing. The guy said, let's park right there in the shade. Policeman said, no, he's standing in front of the car. So the guy was saying, what if I just drop my car and you stay in front of it, I'll run you over, And the other police guy who was not even involved said, I will shoot all of you in our car.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, the level of impunity everybody operates with in Liberia is very incredible. I mean, it's high. At every level, people feel like there is no recourse, there's no accountability, that they can do whatever they want to do and they will be free. So he made those kind of threats to us. Eventually, they allowed us to park on the side. Then the police came. We all came to town. They asked me where I wanted to go. I said, I want to go to the U.S. Embassy. Then they had to make calls to the bosses, back and forth calls. Eventually, they said no. They were taking the immigration because they wanted to make sure they were handing me over to somebody. I was like, I guess I'm a child. Somebody got to hand me over to somebody. So we went to immigration. We had to wait there for a little bit for them to do their setup. They had a press conference, and they said they were handing me over. And then I went to the U.S. Embassy, explained the situation. And then, since I was a free man and I felt based on everything I had seen and people I had talked to, after I came to Monrovia, it made sense for me to leave the country right away, especially after the panic that my wife and, other family members were going through. So I went, took my COVID test, got a ticket, and, went to the airport. They processed my document, my passport, everything. As I was probably about to board the plane, some agent came to me and asked me for my passport. So I didn't have a problem. I gave him my passport, right? I'm a free man. I gave him my passport. When it was time to board the plane, I went. I got down, got through gave my boarding pass. They allowed me to go. I went, got on the bus. And then as I was on the bus, I saw like somebody all the way, like holding my passport or holding a passport coming. And I thought maybe it was him, but I couldn't stop the people bus. So they drove me to the plane. Usually they drive you to the plane. So we got down, we're in line. When I got to the front of the line, the lady stopped me and said they should stop me. And I said, why? She said, and then I went live, and I gave her my boarding pass. She saw it, she checked it, she saw that immigration had approved me. So she said she couldn't stop me. She let me get on the plane. And then I was still live and explaining, I said, I guess I'm not a free man because you said I'm a free man, but you still stopping me doing roadblocks and stuff like that. And then they brought my passport to me, which was a little surprising because I guess they couldn't stop me. So I had my passport and I left the country. But after the fact, I got a couple of different calls from people who clearly said a hit was put on me. Even somebody who was supposed to execute a hit had boasted how he missed me. And this is somebody who I know personally. I know his brother, everything to that effect. So it's just a sad thing that you don't commit a crime. You have no case against you. You get arrested, and you go through unnecessary trial and tribulations, and then your life is threatened. It's the fact that, everybody felt I was probably a dead body because of the situation speaks very badly of our country. Very, very badly. That people can just take actions, and especially in the wake of the previous deaths that have happened with the auditors and other people, the value of life is so low in Liberia. People just feel anybody can do anything, and sometimes it's not even maybe government. It's somebody like a government sanction, even though in this case I felt it was kind of sanction. But sometimes it may not even be a government sanction thing where people who want to impress the powers that be would take those kind of actions. So even though I thought it was going to be short, well, I'm sorry, we took nearly 10, 11 minutes trying to explain that. But basically that's surmises what happened.
Okay, interesting. But just one little question I want to ask probably before my colleagues can come in. During all of your ordeal, Was there any nervous moment that you thought you were facing danger?
Well, I guess that's some of the, I may call it maybe stupid arrogance at this point. I don't know. Knowing now that it was really dangerous, I didn't I didn't feel that. I was not intimidated by the folks. None of them tried to put hand on me, obviously. Um, and eventually we had conversations, you know. I mean, it's tough for somebody to keep you in a room. They're sitting there, you're looking at it, looking at you, and you know, or the couple of other people that came in the room that you would not say something or they would not start talking. So we talk about football. And then, you know, as it's hard for people not to explain the problems. You know, most times when somebody got a problem and you're sitting down, they will explain the problem. So they talk about some of the challenges they face. And, you know, those are things that if it's a company is successful, you really have to look at, because I don't believe this government has the desire to improve things for those people who are on the front lines. And those people are really on the front lines, you know, because when you look at the situation, it's dark at night. They're at the border. You know, you don't know what can happen at a border situation. Um, they got their families in town. There was so much things that came visible that I was not even more concerned for my safety. I was just trying to think of solutions to some of the problems that our people face.
Well,
Right.
Paul Jamel, you
Yeah,
just told a story.
thank you very
I
much.
guess this is not strange to any of us.
I think I have an echo. Do you have your? I'm hearing an echo. Do you hear
Yeah,
me?
No,
you are hearing echo
we
because you
good.
are locked in two times. Actually, your
Okay.
yourself you
Can I
look
go
at now
out?
and you have another one. So I want to kick this one out. But eventually, if I kick it out and you get kicked out, then you can log back on. Okay?
Do that, please, so I can come back.
Yeah,
I got
or
a
else
very
we'll continue
interesting
to
question
hear
for
the
Mr.
echo.
Tukwa.
So let
Right.
me take out
So
this.
while you're doing that, Mr. Togba, it's good to have you. And I just want George Weah, the dream, the legend, the rise to power. What was the intent of this book?
Simply to tell a story. A lot of our people, we don't tell their stories, you know, and part of it for me was an inspiration from Patrick Burroughs telling the story of Hillary Teach and how he was very successful in Liberia. You know, we have had great leaders and other people, but this is like in the moment, because there's a part two to this, the presidency. You know, because the first part of George Weah's story is great, regardless of how loose his mouth is and what he says, or his relationship with some people, and how some people have perceived some of those relationships as negative with his friends, and his own personal insecurities in terms of how he deals with people. The rise from where he was as a child in Gibraltar, all the challenges he went through to be able to build up to get to where he got to, and the odds of that happening, for him to become the world best. That's an incredible story, and that's a story that can be an example for many young people to follow the positive side, not necessarily the negative side, for them to be successful. And not that too many people ever rise to that level of success. So we think it's a wonderful story. It has a lot of, and there's so much stuff, about this guy that's not in the book, you know, that just information that's there. Somebody could write another book from another angle, or even replicate what we did, and it would still be a different story. So,
But why did you decide to include the negative side?
you telling a story is your obligation, responsibility to tell the people the truth, to give the entire picture of the individual. And from he
If
was
you are
actually,
redeemed, a lot of your critics were
well,
saying
one second. It's not
that
negative. It's what he said. And that's how, he said it. That's how he presented it. If people read the book, they will understand. He was actually praising his wife and giving the valid reasons why she became his wife. So, people can take it for what they want. Maybe it's a cultural shock. But then again, we got to look at our culture. Are we way behind? Are we restricting writers' liberty to write the way they want to write? The fake outrage. Where's the outrage today? If it's a
We come to
history,
that. But
yeah,
this
we can.
question,
Uh-huh.
I can't sleep before asking this question.
Yeah.
Most of your critics say, because you work with George, we are all these years. I mean, you guys built up a great institution, which is the CDC, and the name Asif Tupa was synonymous to anything within the CDC. And then CDC comes to power after all the struggle, and Asif Tupa is left in the dust with no respect, with nothing at all for Asif Tupa throughout this struggle. People are saying that this is what led you to write this story. In fact, even including the negative part of it. So the question here is: had you been working in the government right now, probably a minister or one of the big guys, would you have written this book and even
Yes.
start?
Yes. This book started way before this government came to power in 2018. So people think it's just a short time. You can just write a book and do all the research, do all the interviews. I don't think people understand what it takes to write a book, and it's just sad that they would think that. It has nothing to do with what I'm employed, not employed. And besides, we're employed before we started being with CDC. We're employed and we gave our resources, our time, our effort. Nobody can question that, you know. I mean, yeah, people can, dumb people, they can certainly do it. But, what does it mean? Jesus Christ did not have critics. Jesus Christ had people who kill him. And he's the one that people, all over the world today say he's their Lord. So I don't care what you do. There will always be people who have one opinion and people who have another opinion about what you do. Sometimes even multiple, different perspectives of what you do. So they can have that opinion. I don't have a problem. It's like not relevant to me because it's not true. Paul, you're on mute. I don't know
Oh,
if
you are
you
mute.
Right. So it seems to me from what Linfa said about your critics, so they took one little page of the book to actually go after you because they know what you bring on the table to Mr. Cummings. Is that what it seems to me? You want to expand on that, please?
Oh yeah, I mean, but obviously they understand my abilities. They know that. They know what I did for the CDC. They know what my intellect is. They know what my commitment is when I'm, committed to something. I mean, for the longest time, it was basically me on social media fighting all the opponents of the CDC, and they even had a whole movement against George Weah ever holding power or something, or ever getting elected to that, And I don't, I don't take things personal. I believe intellectually you can break down people when you stick with your principles, you stick with your talking points, you keep stick with your core reason for why you are doing something. You can be successful. And a lot of people are emotional. They have low emotional intelligence. They get upset very quickly. They will insult you. But, I mean, if I choose to insult with the integration of the rear guarantor and the, and the voter, not too many people can insult more than me. But why should I insult when I can break you down intelligently? So I don't even resort to that, And sometimes it gets to people, but, that's just them. I mean, but the fact is, Mr. Comey is a serious competitor in this race. He has a very good chance. And, some people think politics is stagnant. No, it's not. The numbers from 2017 will not reflect the numbers in 2023. So people should just be aware at the jump that Mr. Cummings will make. I mean, he's the hardest working person I've come across, especially when they have no reason to be that hardworking. That's when you know somebody is really committed. When
Is Asif Tupa still committed to the CD, to the ANC, Mr. Cummings?
without doubt, it's not about title, it's not about job, it's not about money, it's about conviction. I've always wanted a better Liberia, and I that's why sometimes people feel like maybe I spread myself too thin, because anybody who has a good idea that can make a difference for Liberia, I will support and find some kind of way to see how I can impact that. So, it's just about better Liberia, and hopefully more of us can start to wake up that we really need change in our country where things are, the governance, the level of corruption, the incompetence that place in strategic positions that leave these positions deficient and not able to cope, locally or regionally or internationally, it just sets the country back. And until a lot of people realize that and realize where they are today compared with where they were in 2017, 2018, and understand the deterioration, then they can wake up. But if people don't want to wake up, it's so hard to do. And we know a lot of our people are not literate. A lot of people don't understand what democracy is. A lot of people don't understand the process of, assessing candidates and deciding who to vote for. Our political structure has been the same from time immemorial. It's all about, show me your impact, not the potential of that individual, but if you can build a couple of wells, you can build up a lava hut, you can give people a football jersey, you got a high chance of getting elected, or you can talk sometimes nonsense and convince them, then you're fine. But we need to educate our people. We need some serious civics program. We need community civics to just sensitize our people on what democracy really is, what their rights are, what the social contract is. That when you elect these people, they have a certain obligation to you that's guided by the Constitution, and they are supposed to execute it in a certain manner. And until our people can get to that level, it's very tough. But gradually, we have been trying. Other people have been trying. Some nonprofit organizations are out there. One of them I work with called Child Steps International. They just changed the name to Civics and Service International. That have written a civics book that's in use in the schools. They just need more funding to be, spread all around the country for nearly every student in the country to be able to utilize that material. We also have like a community program, a community civics program that's very interactive. Is so unique. It can really get people to understand what civics is, what their responsibility as a citizen is to the country, what is you expect from the country, get a layman's understanding of the Constitution, how the judicial system works and what's expected of them, to be able to cohabit with their fellow citizens, in a country. So
Okay.
those are things that need to happen.
Yeah. Mr. Asif Tupa, if you just joining us, for those of you viewing, this is Mr. Asif Tupa, former Chief of Office Staff of the leader of the ANC, Mr. Alexander Cummings. He's our guest tonight. We are discussing a wide range of issues. And so if you want to call, or we have a number here that you can call, or better say, you can follow us on Facebook, on the bottom line, and on YouTube live. Mr. Tupa, there is this question that I've always thought that I wanted to know about. The time you worked with Mr. Cummings, though it was not too long time. What did you observe about Mr. Cummings? Is there anything special about him? I mean, compared to other politicians that you are seeing, what made you so convicted?
So I've worked in corporate America for a significant length of time. I worked in Liberia I graduated from high school when I was 16. And I didn't go to college right away. I got a job with Chase Manhattan Bank. My first job was making more than my mom and making more than my pop
Wow.
in the private sector, yeah. And at 17, I was lucky to be surrounded by professionals, real professionals. Mr. Edwin Gore, he was a mentor to me, you know. And it's important for young people who are getting the workforce to have, great role models, Mr. Maxwell, Marie Brown, Mrs. Felicia Gadibeku. All of these were people who set great examples as role models, Francis Carey, um, you know, uh, so it is like when you see people operate like that and you like a little youngster in there, you tend to follow what they do. And that's how I build my work ethic. That's how I build my ability to engage with other people, to be accountable to them as well as hold them accountable. So from that foundation, and then being able to have the sense that yes, I'm making more money than my mom and pop right now, but really I want education. I need to go to school. I left and went to Cottonton after 1 year. But every vacation, whether that Easter vacation, July vacation, December vacation, I came back to Chase Manhattan Bank. Without 2-3 days, they would allow me to work. So I was always engaged. I was always, My pocket always has something inside, basically. So, after I graduated, they hired me. I was like, by that time, I had built up enough experience and stuff to be able to be a manager. So I'm the data processing manager at Chase Manhattan Bank. And you also work with other professionals, Indian and white people at the bank at that time. So having that experience and then being able to, you know, get abroad to go to graduate school and then get to be a professional in the US and work and try to break the glass ceiling and go up, you learn a lot of stuff. But when you come across somebody like Mr. Alexander Cummings and you compare him with other people, you can understand why the guy is successful. He's extremely hardworking. He knows his capabilities and he knows his weaknesses. He doesn't try to do what other people can do, and he doesn't try to to micromanage them. But one of the key abilities he has is to reach out to people, get a general idea of what it is, and then condense that information, synthesize it, and be able to make decisions around that. That's real leadership. And he does not like necessarily criticize or try to berate people. He will berate a situation and say, look, collectively, we are not doing this, or this situation is not working. But most times, people who make mistakes and stuff, and he takes it as a learning opportunity for them to grow. And not too many leaders do that. Not too many leaders are secure within themselves to be able to accept even criticism. Because for me, I'm a very direct person. I try to be as truthful as I can, especially when we engage in professionally. You ask me for my opinion, I will give you my honest opinion. And maybe something about this easy people ain't like, I don't know. But Mr. Cummings is somebody who can give it and he can take it. And he's a consummate professional, somebody anybody should want to work with. So I saw him as somebody extremely hardworking. I'm one of the hardest working person you can find. Basically, I give myself to a cause when I'm involved with it. And he himself is very similar in the fact that when I look at how many people I had to interact with, and he probably multiplied that 3-4 times. Sometimes I do get complaints from people, oh, they're coming read about me, but you don't know the thousands of people that reach out to you on a daily basis, and he got to be able to respond to as many of them as possible. So that's what impressed me about Mr. Cummings, his integrity, his abilities, his intelligence, his commitment to doing, what he says he will do, and he keeps his word. He's very time conscious. I myself, I'm very time conscious that the Liberian time where people late for everything, when you late, you late. You order the meeting, we're moving on, So those are some of the things that were very impressive about, Mr. Cummings and his commitment to Liberia to making a difference, the empathy he feels and sometimes the emotion he expresses when, certain situations occur. You realize that this individual really cares for the country. He wants to make a difference. Then beside his personal thing, the network that he actually has, that, honestly, he could leverage a little bit more if he wanted to. But he believes that we really have to Liberianize this thing and we have to work to get to where we want. He doesn't want it on a silver platter. He doesn't want all his friends coming to bear and stuff like that. So you have to respect an individual like that, and you have to really, admire his commitment to the country.
So, Mr. Vat, a lot of people saying Mr. Cummings have been hard to sell to the Liberians, and you supported George Weah, and you was able to break through. How do you do it this time with Mr. Cummings?
Well, there's a vast difference between Mr. Cummings and George Weah. So George Weah built his popularity on. I'm sorry. George Weah built his popularity on what he did playing soccer. First, he got into the hearts and minds of people, and endeared himself to them based on his skills. And then when he was fortunate to start to make money, there was a certain level of generosity around George Weah. He helped a lot of people. There was a lot of testament to how he impacted different people. And that was really the foundation that he used to get to where he got to, because significant number of people were impacted by his generosity, the stuff and favors that he did for them. He was willing to give a listening ear. That's why the George we are today is totally different from the George we are that many people knew back then. Whether it's the fact that he lost a lot over the years and was not at the same economic situation that he used to be in, and he was trying to recover or whatever it was. So, that's the difference. But you have to give him that credit for what he did in that block of time before actually rising to the presidency.
So how will you make Mr. Cummings now to rise over there, because he's done a lot since he been back home?
Oh, definitely. So just to answer that part of the question is about, you see, the core thing kind of slow Mr. Cummings' momentum. We're reaching to the people. And for any group of people that Mr. Cummings engages, I believe at least 55 to 60% is given the time for them to engage. We understand where he comes from. We buy into his ideology, and we understand that, yes, he may have a corporate outlook or exterior, but once you engage him at that level, he's personable, he's fun. And people seeing some of the pictures that are coming from these engagements, going to Waterside, going to Camp Johnson Road, all the different trips we have made. And that's the thing. We've been taking Mr. Cummings to the people. And I think that perspective is changing. The propaganda is to keep it there and to label it. But no, the people know Mr. Cummings, and they're even popularizing more with the case. So many more people know who Mr. Cummings is. It's just that sometimes, for me, it's even a little difficult to understand a guy's achievement, because I've been there. I know how difficult it is to even get a promotion. When you're competing with somebody who's white, it's not easy. So for him to be able to rise to that level and to break it down to people so they can understand. Yes, maybe people won't call him Coca-Cola seller, fine. But he's probably the best Coca-Cola seller you can ever find. So he can do something that can sell Liberia and make a difference. So people don't understand the rise in a corporation, what it takes to come from, maybe a finance section or one department to rise to be the head of a global entity, a Fortune 100 corporation. It's not the easiest thing for anybody to do, white, black, green, blue, or whatever. And for a Liberian man to do it, is extremely impressive. So selling him and breaking down his accomplishment, let people understand it. Let people understand that his generosity towards Liberians and things Liberians was not only when he wanted to be president, it was before that. And there's enough evidence to prove how he committed to other hospitals, how he committed to his alma mater, CWA, how he benefited other people, how he worked with the Liberian organization in Georgia. So the propaganda is there, but I think the ice is being broken. The Liberian people are connecting with him. They are connecting with the Cummings, even though they call it Cummings. They're connecting with, his generosity, his philanthropy, all the medication, the STEM school. And that's why, you see, he's practical about the things that he wants to change in the country. He tries to do something towards those things. When he talks about integrity, that's why he's not, falling for what the people in the CPP in terms of the ALP and the United Party are trying to do, trying to smear him in a way that there's no differentiation between him being a man with clean hands versus who they are. And so that's what they are trying to do. But it's not working because people can see it's a persecution. If somebody committed fraud or, criminal conspiracy, what is that criminal conspiracy? What is the fraud? Show me what was the document before and how he changed your signature. And it's not like this was a secret situation. It was public. You guys had a document that was flawed. As soon as you went public with that document, everybody else who wanted a job that when that CPP came down here, it was a huge uproar. Immediately, you send a document to your lawyer. You didn't sign it. You did it. Just had the four of us on this video. That's just how they were on the video. If I sign, yeah, symbolically, you sign, you probably will not even sign. You just put your finger over the document. So you got one document, he got one document, the other fellow have one, I have one. Tomorrow morning we wake up, the people crying that document you sign a mess up document. We say, oh, so what we do? The people crying, or they say the job clause where only see people who active can get jobs. We gotta do something about it. Okay, let's send it to the lawyer. We'll send a document to the lawyer. Are we gonna sign that document? Which one of you will sign that document that you're sending to the lawyer? None of you. So that document was never signed. So when in the subpoena, when it asks for original signed CPP framework document on May 19, 2020, there's no document like that. They had the electronic version of the document. They have probably printed copies for them to sign that day. They never signed it. Okay, so when they sent it to the lawyers reviewed the document. The lawyers brought it back to them and said, here's the revised document, but these are the 10 issues we saw. They got a meeting, the lawyers walked them through the 10 issues because at that time, Mr. Cummings was the chairman of the CPP. He walked them, the lawyers walked them through those issues, and they all agreed. They all signed a resolution individually based on their decision by the National Executive Committees. They notarized those decisions. They submitted all of those, and they came around and got signatures for all of them. And then today they're going to say that document is a fraudulent document, a document that they agreed to. It's just sad the lack of integrity that's been demonstrated by the ALP, the Unity Party, and Yomdi Kanga. How can you use a document that you got candidates on the ballot, not for one election, but 2 cycles, and you won? And then you turn around and say that document is fraudulent because you want to smear somebody. So it's obviously that the system is shaking. The system is intimidated by a person like Mr. Cummings, what he brings to the table, how he wants to transform our country, some of the principles that he stand by and he will not break. So they are intimidated. I mean, I get all kind of inbox messages.
So, Mr. Torbert, there are a lot of people in Europe have been having the discussion about the intention and the intent of the government to stop Mr. Cummings from running, because the case, if he can prove or evidence on what he took the president to court for, that means there's an intent with the government and they want to stop him from running. In your own wisdom, and you've been around the political arena for a while, how this going to play out if they stop Mr. Cummings from running, if they pull some sort of false crime on him to stop him from running, how this going to play out? I mean, talk to our listening audience if that happened.
I mean, I don't see how that can happen because, one, they don't have a case. Secondly, people now see that it's a persecution with all the murders that happen in Liberia, with all the criminal stuff, and how long it takes for some of these cases to go to trial. It's a situation that happened in a political party that you prioritize, that the Solicitor General is all like flamboyantly strolling around here, trying to persecute and not prosecute an individual. He claimed he had all the evidence. What happens? The same document that they're talking about, they say they submitted it. Now, the number one item on the list of evidence that is submitted. But then you get to court and then you ask the defendant to produce a document against himself that's supposed to use to incriminate him. That's against our law. That's totally against our law. I believe Article 21H in our Constitution. So that's not supposed to happen. But again, it's the system. So faulty decisions will be made. They made it at the lower court, the magistrate court. Mr. Cummings took an appeal to the circuit court. The judge reviewed it. They talked all this joke about, it being an organization. That organization you sue or that individual, and if you got documents for organizations to give it, but it's not a document he has. Ure was chairman. Ure didn't turn over one piece of paper to say, oh, yeah, even the ones that he was supposed to sign on the virtual, he never turned it over to Mr. Cummings. But yet and still, they want to blame Mr. Cummings. So I don't see how the case would go. I don't see the legitimacy in the case. I see all kind of grandstanding. Like, for example, the how do you call it? The subpoena they did. The subpoena they did was actually for them to produce documents to the court. Is not a subpoena where you require the person to come and testify. They get in the court, and CFA wants Mr. Cummings to testify. The judge was smart enough to understand that and basically said, no, Mr. Cummings should not testify. Then he brought another application to the court. When Mr. Cummings presented the document, I guess they put him on the stand and asked him a couple of questions. He came back and said Mr. Cummings was being hostile. And the judge should declare him a hostile witness so that he can, cross-examine him and interrogate him. And the lawyers for Mr. Cummings protested against that. It made no sense for him to do that. So they kicked against it, and the judge said he would make this decision this coming Wednesday. That's tomorrow now, because today is Tuesday. So it's just like CFOS is just picking all kind of tricks of the trade and tools in his toolbox to come against Mr. Cummings. And it's not working, because the fact is they cannot prove that document was ever signed. They just cannot. So, I don't see how the case can go against Mr. Cummings. If it does, it's just the total system. But at the end of the day, I think the entire goal is to keep Mr. Cummings away from the people, because they know that's how he can win. And that they are prepared to put in the work to go to the people. But Mr. Cummings is, and he was doing that. And I think he will continue to do that, even between the case right now in Monserrato. He's reaching out to different segments of the population. The last time he was on Camp Johnson Road going down all the way to Broad Street. Last week, Thursday, I believe, he was, last week, Thursday, he went on Camp Johnson Road. So yesterday, after the case, he was down Waterside. So most likely Wednesday or so after the case, he may probably go to, other locations. And it's just important that people understand Mr. Cummings is committed to this thing. So all the games they're playing is not going to stop him. He's going to continue to push and push until they get to that point in October 2023 or November 2023, where the people make their decision. But he's going to be there. And I'm not a lawyer, but I believe this case is a misdemeanor case. That's why sometimes you wonder, why they are doing what they are doing. But it's simply to say Mr. Cummings does not have a clean hand. They keep accusing him of forgery, and they cannot show what the forgery is. They keep saying the document was altered. The lawyers came and said, no, the document that we presented to you guys is the same document that, that is at the National Elections Commission. So I don't see the value of the case. I don't see how, again, Mr. Cummings can lose this case. But again, this is Liberia. And I want to say this is Liberia. So anything possible.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sorry. Do you hear me okay now?
Yeah, Jamil, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Sorry for my technical problem. Thank you, Mr. Tukwa, for coming to our show. Top guy. I just got a couple of questions, if you mind. With regard, first, there was when your case in Liberia happened, when the issue of you were leaving the country and went all over the place. I think I got calls around about 3 in the morning when I'm in UK. I'm saying your life was at risk, and then we started making calls here and there. And one interesting thing, I keep reading a lot of texts, and one text said that Alva Topa is a smart dude. He's making this up himself to make a book a bestseller. How do you react to that?
I say thank you for thinking I'm that smart, or just for thinking I'm smart, period. But to do this just to sell a book, no. My life was actually threatened, and I got to know that after the fact. I didn't really believe a lot of people saying my life was being threatened because I guess I just maybe be confident that I'm secure or whatever. But no, my life was threatened. And there were a couple of people who called me to tell me exactly that yes, there was a hit on you and people were going, but it got called off. So I consider myself lucky, or I can say prayers work or intervention work. All those things had a factor to getting this, but it can't be about no book. No, it can't be.
Okay.
So let me ask you, when you heard I was arrested, what was your initial thought?
Well, first with the Liberian situation, I told you your life was at serious risk,
Thank you.
considering other things. But I just gave the fact that anything can go. I want just your reaction to the statement from this guy. There were a lot of texts. People had different side of the story. I know just one. I probably never heard of it. Probably heard it from someone else. But this is something like we got heard that. Oh yeah, he's you don't know. Mr. Tukpa is a very smart dude. He can do anything to get him out there. So that's I just wanted to see how you react to the story that came about. Anyway, now, I understand that quickly.
I can laugh now, but
Yeah, I could see the day you were sitting. I think one of the common photographs is an iconic one. I think it'll be very popular for you if you in your future, probably direct your own memoir. Was this picture you were sitting on in TNE with any tracksuit trousers with a t-shirt?
No, that's not TNE. That was Abu Waterside.
Okay, Abu Waterside looking like, oh, you were so depressed, you're looking like confused. You don't know your life was. I'm like, this guy is in serious trouble. You could see that from now. Things were not really going good.
No, actually,
the picture Jamal is trying to describe as it.
To be honest with you, that picture I was looking at that tea there, wondering if poison was inside.
It was like I said when I saw that picture, I said this guy is in serious trouble. You can see that this is not
true. We all drinking.
So you scary. I know Nita how you scary. Welcome on our show.
You can move on the wrong angle.
Anyway, I just can ask you a question. We just talk back to the story. Tell me a little bit about. I know people be asking you about this book. I guess this make you one of these best seller as a published writer. I mean, the book for this George Weah's book story wrote. Do you see it as? Tell me a little positive side of it? Did they take your book to your A-level, top class bestseller around Europe, around the world?
I mean, we eventually going to, get around and do our best to. This call will be 1 hour. Eh? I got an important call coming in.
No, we will soon finish you.
I can't come back on. Like take this call and come back on.
No, you can come back on.
I got to take this call.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
You can come back on. And by the way,
I expect go off the video.
He running away from entry.
No, he's not running away.
All right.
Because he got questions to answer on this show.
Okay. Like he was saying, I don't know. What was the next question from Jamal?
No, I got a lot of questions for you, but just a matter I couldn't come here. I had technical problems, so I couldn't come on for the time when you guys were discussing the book. But that picture it's iconic picture for me. It could see this guy, the dude was in. It was all right, but I like the way you answered it. You okay?
Let me see.
The person was understanding. I told them the people from Europe are very important. They are critical people.
Oh, right.
You need to talk to them so they will understand.
Okay, guys. Mr. Tukpa, Paul, Antrick, and Jamal, I got a surprise coming up for you. I got one guest. I got one other guest coming up. And I said, you want to guess who this person is?
Wow. All right, let me just ask 2 questions. Is the person
the person knows you very well?
Yeah, but is the person in Europe?
No, in Liberia.
Person in Liberia?
Yeah. Okay.
Not too many people brave, so that means that person brave to come along with me.
Yeah, I'll let the cat out of the bag.
A great man. A great man. Let me get
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah,
Here we
wait
go.
for it.
Oh.
They're all gone.
No, you want to come on? You scared? You can see him?
Yeah, the man
What
is
about you? Welcome.
The DOC of Liberia.
Linford.
Yeah.
My man, that man will pay fine. I've been trying to get hold of him for months now. So it's
Man,
going on.
you all know a secret. You all know how to catch the man. You're listening. That man, my man.
Liver know how to get me. But poor you were Jay here, you must say we hang out everything. So
My man, I've been calling you. I've been calling for some reason.
Please,
anyway.
let me. This Mr. Topa is very hard to find. I know Mr. Yoba also hard to find. Let's this few minutes we have. Then can we just go straight to the matter, please, guys?
Yeah.
Mr. Topa, I'll go back to Mr. Yoba. Mr. Topa, I've just got a couple of questions, please, if you mind.
Sure.
I was talking about your book being on the bestseller right now. After these Ray Maru, all these blah blah around here. Tell me, what did it happen? What did you take your book to that level? Today, to the top bestseller level around the world as one of the best in Liberia from African writers?
Well, I guess it interested people when that angle came about. But the book by itself, we got to be honest with some things here. There are 250 million people that play soccer, right? And even if we say only 50% of them know about George, we had 125 million. Okay? If we say 1% of those people would buy the book or be interested in the book, that's a significant number of people. That 1,250,000 people. So the potential for the book is huge just by itself, if we can market it. And we have not even launched the book officially yet. All right. So it was bestseller in a category. And we expect to mark. Oh, you got a copy?
We all got a copy. Don't worry.
I said we have to pay for.
We all got a copy to let you know that we have read the book from cover to cover. So you should know that. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you. We really appreciate it. On behalf of Emmanuel Clark, I want to say thank you to you people. But what I'm saying is, look, the book has not even been adapted into French yet. So that there's a whole population sitting down that really loves George Weah and would want to know more about him that they probably didn't know, because it was just snippets or summaries that people provided for his profile most of the time. Same for the Spanish people who love football out of this world. And, sometimes we got to be honest. He was during the war years and during the lean years of Liberia, that was the one name that was very popular. Today, most places you go and you say you're from Liberia, they'll ask you, George Weah? And that's just the reality. It's just sad that he screwed up the opportunity to be a great president, But what is it? Is some things are redeemable. It's just that I just don't see how they can turn this thing around. I really don't see how.
So quickly, that particular part that got you out of the country it was a blessing in disguise, is it?
I don't know if it was a blessing. I mean, it's part of the book. And anybody who, if you read that section, you know what the section was about. He was praising and giving the reason why he got married. So you'll read that section and read it in its totality.
The thing is, question, guys, sorry, I'm going to get my last question on this book. People will say, giving consideration of our culture, you should have kind of paraphrase or frame it, but you were so graphic. Do you see that? Somebody say you were so graphic in your explanation as a publisher, you could have been so paraphrase or kind of polishing the way that people kind of take in, but you came more straight to the point. You just say as he said it.
Why you gonna try to go around something? We even refine it compared with the words that were used. So maybe some people offended, but the outrage is just, I think, it's hypocritical. They just seek offense trying to please George Weah. So that's how I look at it. Seriously. Yeah, there are a few people who will be genuinely offended. But when you talk about writing, have any of you guys heard about the biography of what's her name, Nancy Reagan?
Yeah, I've read it. Yeah.
What's the key thing in there that the lady talked about too? How did she get Hollywood popularity?
I don't want to mention that on this.
No, but you,
Anyway,
you,
go on.
you,
Go on.
I
I
said
don't want
you
I don't
cannot
want to say anything.
compare the people's society with ours.
What is about our society?
See,
Are we in a primitive?
this
Yes.
is
What is this about the
Isaac,
this
primitive
is
our
where I
society
sometimes get
Isaac,
that you
concerned.
can't compare
what
it?
you
Why?
what you wrote in that
Why?
book,
Why
that
you in Europe?
identical chapter,
Huh?
that identical chapter
Bullshit.
or paragraph, whatever that you wrote,
Uh-huh.
you should have never done it.
Why
People
not?
have
That's
respect
your
for you.
opinion. It's sad that you are making that statement because
What makes you sad?
you read. I bet you read things that are worse than that in so many different magazines and books.
No.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion. Now I believe in democracy.
You see,
For
let me
Yeah, I'm
just come
entitled
in.
to my
Let me
opinion,
just
but
come in. You know,
I felt that you disrespected Liberian women.
no, the person who said it is the person who disrespected you. You are
But do you have
misdirecting.
to say it in that manner?
In
That's
what
the
manner?
question I have
In
to
what manner?
ask.
Is
Do
there
you have to
insult?
say
Is there
it in
insult
that manner?
word in there? Is there insult word in there?
The words that you use are inappropriate.
What you call
That is
inappropriate
the problem.
in the school?
As a professional writer,
Do you have children? Do you have children who go to school?
I have children, of course.
Do you think from this do they teach them sex education?
They haven't reached that level yet
Okay.
because they are still small.
Okay. But let me
As
tell
time
you,
goes by, when they reach a
from
certain
fourth
level
grade,
to be
fifth grade,
educated,
from
they
fourth grade,
can.
fifth grade, they teach people sex education. So for somebody to use the words tight vaginally, for you to think that is inappropriate, I don't even see how. And
You
what is
should have.
culture? What is culture? Whenever where in our where is
We
it
know that
hold
Liberian
on.
Hello,
culture.
This
guys.
is what I want to say. Don't interrupt
Guys.
me. I'll let you speak, right? If you want to speak, I will stop and you can go ahead and say what you want to say. But if you don't have anything to say, don't interrupt me when I'm speaking.
I have something to say. I
Okay,
was
go ahead
talking
and say
before
what you want to say.
started
Then I will
talking.
speak. Go ahead and say what you
Okay.
want to say.
Then give me the chance because in our society it's ladies before gentlemen. Not because you are in a Europe or in a American or Western settings. You still
Andre, you
come
know that
from
he's our guest. You got to be a little bit calm down with him. We
Yeah,
have
I'm
to
calm down with him.
he's our guest.
Of
We
course,
need to be.
he's a guest.
She's entitled to say what she wants
She's
to say.
important,
He's
but we need
our
to.
guest,
I
and
can
he's
respond.
also
We need
a
to
big
step in.
brother.
I can
Listen,
respond.
listen for
No,
Jamel.
Jamel.
Jamel, can you
Yes.
listen? He's
I am.
our guest. He is also like a big brother to me.
Yeah,
I
but
have
if you
so
want to
much
do that, you can
respect for
discuss
him.
that outside of this. This is
No,
different.
no.
This is
No,
sorry.
We
I'm not.
discuss
I'm
that right here because
Jamel, let her go
a lot
ahead.
of
Let her go
people.
ahead. She
No,
doesn't
no.
have an argument. What
Jamel,
she's saying is very weak.
Jamel,
What culture? Our culture is a murder culture. What
I
have
know
you?
our culture
No.
is
Our culture is a murder culture. Our culture is a rape culture.
Isn't that why we are fighting to bring Alexander Cummings as a leader of Liberia to
Don't
better
bring
the
Alexander
country?
Cummings into this thing because you got a total wrong perspective. Tight vaginally is not inappropriate.
So because our country, we do not have a culture that show the value. So
What
we should
culture?
destroy
What
it.
culture value the
Okay,
fabric of our society
we
is
still have
let me
it.
take control now. Let me
We
take
still
control.
have that. We still have
hello?
that culture.
There
It
is no
still
culture.
exists.
There is no culture. You can't value
Isaac.
There is a culture.
Hello,
You
Andre.
cannot.
There is a culture.
Andre.
You cannot.
Andre,
The intent of this show tonight is not about cultural validation or whatever.
No, but you cannot. What culture is he talking about?
The very language,
Isaac.
the very language that we are using here. The
When
very
Joe
language
was
we are
talking about
speaking is not
measuring
our culture.
number, where were you with culture?
The very language that we are using here is not part of
Look,
our culture.
Andre,
Liberia
I'm
is part of
sorry.
the world. We are
You are
transforming.
just off the wall. Yes, you may be trying to purpose some kind of women liberation thing here, but that's not it.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's not. I am putting
women
on my.
issues.
Let me just
I
come
push
in.
women
Let
issues
me
more
just come
than
in.
most women. I push women issues more than most women.
So you don't regret your action at all, Isaac?
Oh, I apologize to those who are sincerely offended, but I don't regret it.
Of course, I'm sincerely offended because I have respect for you. I see you as a good
that's not why you
person.
should be offended. No, that's not why. Not because you got respect for me.
Okay,
I see you
Andre,
listen.
No.
You disrespect
Andre,
the
how
Liberian
you see
women
me?
in that matter. It's
guys,
disrespect
you
Andre.
invited me, yo.
Andre,
Wait, Mobile, please.
Disrespect, bro.
Andre, can you please, because our listening audience are
yeah,
complaining.
This
we
is
have
not
important
fine,
things to
Andre.
discuss.
You listen,
This is why
guys.
we brought the show here.
Look, listen, listen to
Why
me.
do you people this
Listen to
man
me.
came
Listen,
on the
Listen-
show?
no, listen to
also
me.
You're not
discuss-
smart, Andre.
Why are you people shutting me out?
No,
Stop.
but listen,
No,
this
you
is
gotta
it's,
dominate the
we are
show.
shutting.
You
not
gotta
understand
what I'm
trying to say.
You
I'm
ask
not
your
Isaac.
question,
I
I
waited for
responded to
this
you.
moment to talk with you face to face.
But you
I
can call
call
him.
Tell
Me and
you
you can
what
go.
you
Me and you
did
can go on a
was
separate
wrong.
live. You and I can go on a separate live, and we can
Mhm.
discuss this. And
Yeah,
you
this
cannot
is how
win
we
the
would
debate.
do it.
But you
This is-
come on our life, that what we call it the bottom line. We go deep into issues and
I
discuss.
Yeah,
have no
but
problem, but you can't dominate the
I mean,
show. You gotta let the other people speak.
One sec, guys. One sec.
Yeah, you guys have spoken. You
Andre,
guys have spoken. Jamel just got you talking long. And Lifa also, Paul also. I was the last to come in, so you allow me to speak.
Yeah,
to
but the way
Yeah,
you
but
say
listen,
it now,
I just
different.
want to make an announcement. Andre, Linfa.
I come here, Paul. The reason why we invite guests on the show is to get information from them, not to argue with them, not to judge them. And we want information.
No, we
their
want information from him, but we also will argue with him to know.
No. What's the essence of argument?
Coming
Well,
up.
you
You can't win an
Okay.
argument, Andre. You can't win an argument with me.
But it's
You
not
just
about
wanna waste
winning.
your time. You cannot win an
I think
argument
it's
with
not
me.
about winning.
You
It's
can
about
express your
telling you the
opinion. You
truth
can express your
on this
opinion.
life.
You can express your opinion, and that's good. But your opinion is flawed. Totally
Linfa,
flawed.
Yeah.
we got a surprise guest coming on. Please watch
Uh-huh.
out now.
Surprise
Another one
guest
again?
again.
Yeah,
Y'all bring
one
another.
surprise guest. So,
Okay.
Maluma brought all the trouble here.
But y'all got me here, surprise guest. And that's
Okay,
Yeah, I've not
you
said
know what?
anything.
Let's get Andre 2 minutes to make a point. What's your point?
I
Andre?
agree. I agree.
My point. Thank you very much. You see, thank you so much for my
Go ahead,
SG,
Andre.
my big brother. My point is, what was written in that book is a total disrespect to the women of Liberia. You shouldn't have wrote it in that manner. We all know who George Weah is. An incompetent fool who will just sit down
No,
and
don't insult
discuss
him. Don't insult him,
about,
please.
about his wife. I can say anything I want to say to him. And he Liberian president. I can. Yes.
It's getting serious.
If you don't want the citizen of Liberia to say something to him, then he should have never been president. That's it.
Okay, so
thanks,
I
guys.
guess we are done.
You done?
No, I
My
might not
mind
respond. I might not have to
already.
respond.
So yeah.
No, I'm
Abba,
responding.
you don't have to
I didn't say I was responding. I asked if she done.
If I'm done, yes, I'm done. I've made
Okay.
my point to you.
Wonderful.
all right, we have a surprise guest here. Since Yasini have just joined, welcome on our show.
But you have not even given mobile. You're about to say anything since you came in.
So, yeah,
Okay, Maluma.
Andre said
use
women,
me
Andre
as
said
a-
women first. So
Maluma.
Yasini will go before Maluma.
Okay, I think Maluma is going in the bike. Since Yasini would love to say welcome, and this is your second time appearing on the show. And this time, we did not invite you officially. Not that we don't want to invite you, but at least
Who were and courses he has seen to come?
you saw the need to come here. And Asif Vatupa is here, and he's our guest tonight. We've been discussing a wide range of issues. We started first with the book, and we swayed a little bit into politics. And you just come in. I guess you've been following me. I follow some of your comments here. Is there anything that really caught your mind or your heart that you want to discuss on the show?
Yeah, I think Isaac had done a great job explaining his stance and then the hostile political environment in Liberia. But I'm a woman, and I advocate for women, and I advocated for women since I was 13 years old. So I like to speak a little bit on the descriptive noun or adjective of a female parts, and then the stance that I'm taking. Vagina is vagina. That's the right word for the woman's private part. That's how we call it. Because Liberian people didn't call it that way. And that's why our children have been molested. That's why these things happen to our children in the back, because they don't know what it is. When I was growing up, my private part was called my girlie. Okay, so if I didn't teach my children and say, somebody touched my girlie and you don't know what that is, but it's good to teach our children now, because we say culture is a man-made belief, right? If you come to my house You don't walk in my house with your shoes. So that's something that I have created. If my children leave the house and they decide that it is inconveniencing other people, they would choose to do away with it. If they have tangible reason or reasonable way of doing it, they will do it. So the essence in science will say this: history does not change because it's things that happen, right? Literature are the same until you add to it. Science is something that's changing every day. And because science changes every day, we have the ability to change with time. And that's why we are behind. And Entric is my daughter. We advocate together. And I believe her. And I believe her stand. I respect her stand. But I think it's time that we start waking up and embracing the way things are. Vagina is not an insult. Vagina is the female private part or anatomy or the entry to her anatomy. All right. We teach our children here, and we should teach all of our children. Maybe it will save our children, especially in Liberia, to make it, to use it to shame you. I've been cursed all over Facebook. I don't care. I have a vagina and I'm proud of it. That's how God made me. That's the female private part. We should teach our children here. We do have education, or what they call it, human development. Some people will opt out, tell the teacher they don't want their children to be a part of. But I'd rather let my children take those classes and know their own anatomy and how it should be respected, how they should carry themselves. So for me, my problem was with we are, okay, is we are. A Liberian woman gave him birth. A Liberian woman breastfed him. A Liberian woman sold for him to go to school or to get to where he is. But he says based on sexuality, that's his choice though. I don't fault him for that. But to think that our value is based on what between our leg, how much we can go down on the ground, how low we can bend, or how wide we can open, there is a problem with that. Liberian women are intelligent, okay? We are educated. We are strong. In fact, we carry and shoulder our society. Now, if we believe that women are the first teacher of humanity, we should be respected. But I don't think there's anything wrong with. I have pictures of Donald Trump's wife naked when he was running, even when he became president. All right. The last biography that they wrote on authorized one for Donald Trump, he went to court, and the court said they kept an injunction on it. That's the people. He can add up to it or he can counter it, but that's from the people perspective that they wrote. So for me, I don't think anybody insulted me or insulted. The only person who insulted me, I think, or my mothers or the women of Liberia is George Weah, and think that our value is based solely on what we can do in bed, if we can tumble up and down, or we can hang down the ceiling, or we can grab onto the chandelier. That's his problem. I'm married to a very intelligent, educated, well-balanced Liberian man. I'm a proud wife of a Liberian a man and the daughter of a Liberian man. And any day, I am proud to be a Liberian. So that's George Weah. And you can't, George Weah would have simply say, the heart chooses where the heart chooses. You don't have control over where the heart chooses. So you can't fault me because I'm one of those people who, when doing his inauguration, a lot of Liberian women went up. People were mad at him. And I said, y'all leave them alone. You can't decide who the heart choose. But to come and say, I pick my wife because Liberian women got withdrawals or they can bend over good, I have a problem with that. That's my problem.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Sis Yasini. I think there's clarity right here.
Can I come in, please?
This cultural thing that we always look at, I think the world is evolving. We are changing. The very language that we are speaking is not our cultural stuff. Okay, we've done a lot of things. We wear good clothes. We do a lot of things. We wear shoes. So if we bury ourselves into certain things. Now, I will tell you something. I have a friend here. Not here in the US. He had a son. He's a big boy now. He always used to tell the boy, "Oh, this thing is called to." And the little boy was like first, second grade. And then when he went higher up in like sixth, seventh grade, fifth grade, I think, or fourth grade, he came back running home one day to his father. Papa, he been lying to me all the time. And he was saying, now, with strangers in the room, in the living room. He said, Papa, he lied to me all the time. American children are more. Then the father said, oh, wait, I'll talk to you. Because I thought he knew. So the beginning said, you said this thing is total, but it's called penis. And everybody was laughing, we were taking it for fun, but because we fool the kid, we said toto. You see, so we gotta teach our children the way, and it's by choice. Some people do want to mention those kind of words. It's by choice. Now, Andre, you and I live in Europe here. I was in Germany the last time, okay, on a boat, and when I turned on the TV around 7 to 8 o'clock, what I saw, I mean, they had X-rated movies. Okay, it's by choice. So I can keep my channel on that, or I can switch away from it. So we can't stigmatize certain part of the culture and make it to look so bad. And the last time, Andre, I still record that you and I had a discussion here, and the discussion was about the female genital mutilation.
Correct.
Okay? And I told you that I come from a culture in which that is practiced. Okay, and when the white man comes and tells me that this is bad, okay, it will take me time for the white man to convince me. But this is the same white man who go and turn man to woman or turn woman to man. Okay, for them it's good, but when we do it, it's bad. I drive around here. Where I live is a lot of farms. I see the small children, 5, 7 years old. They in a tractor with a father. The father driving the tractor is there. He's doing physical where they get the yellow clothes on working. But when we do it in Africa, we teach our children. They say, oh, that's child labor. But here the man say he's teaching his son. You see it? So the white man will always make something to look different to you. So the Jesus Christ will say today, they make it white. She said where he was born, you will find a history. In that white man, he come from in the Middle East. Okay, he didn't get blue eye, but they make it white. And then when the devil is devil, who has seen the devil before? They made the devil black. So it's a lot of things that we got to consider, and when we discussing, we got to give consideration. But Andre, you said you wanted to come in.
Yeah, I wanted to
we're not
come
going to
in.
make it like or dialogue. Between two people or argument. So you just make your point, and then we can move forward. Because a lot of things we need to discuss. We got less than 1 hour. Or 30 minutes to be here. We got to talk a little bit of politics. The status of things or
I just wanted to make reference to what Sis Yasini said, that it is we are who insulted us. Yes, of course. I even expected the women of Liberia, instead of going to protest at the ANC calling for the resignation of Isaac Vatupa, they should have also gone to Weir House and demand, whatever it is, for him to come and publicly apologize to the women of Liberia, but they never did, which is hypocritical. But also, Isaac should take responsibility of writing down the same trash and the same disrespect that we are said to the Liberian people. That's my point. A crazy man cannot hit you and you take him back, or the crazy man jack your clothes and then you running behind the crazy man with your naked self on the street and say because the crazy man took your clothes and running with it. No.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I would say, can I come in? I would say thanks for the explanation, and I like the argument. The argument was it kind of brought the program. It brought something in it that we needed to do. And thanks us and thanks Yasini for coming. Andre, with the foreign power, you brought something else to the show, which is good, but
she brought 40 logic.
Yeah, don't think that we were trying to stop you, but
yeah.
But
no, so let me just say something.
But you can't stop me.
Antric logic is faulty. As a writer, if somebody says something, you present it. If somebody offended by that, yes. But she cannot call what was written as trash. No, it's not trash. It's somebody's description. It's worthy of you reading it and not reading it in a with some narrow lenses.
That's why I will not buy your book. Maybe I can buy another book from you, but I identical book, I will not buy it.
Okay.
So what about all the good things I was saying about
nobody here asked you to buy a book, Andre.
I will not buy that book. Any other book that you write, I'll be
interested to stop your singing. Let other people talk. You can't interrupt. You're gonna try to strap us so you can't be interrupting when I speak.
But you interrupted me.
No, I never interrupted you.
Okay.
Isaac, I say all right.
Yeah, let me
can I say something? I want to ask this Yasini something before. I want to say something to Isaac before you go. Isaac, let me say one of the best admirer on this program, I think, is Antric. your best admirer, I will tell you, because she can be up here and give up your truth. But look, when you are in trouble, she was the one on the phone calling everybody about your
Yep.
life.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now.
But
Person call me 3 in the morning. No, come in.
That's two separate things.
No, it's two separate things. I'm not saying that. Why how she said that's Antric. She'll come and tell you what she think, but it doesn't.
But she's not the only person who can do that. One thing I want people to realize, especially Liberians, they're quick to say, "I can tell you anything," but when you tell them anything, they cry. I'm serious.
So, but the thing I want to say to you right now is, whatever we discuss here is from our heart. So that's the bottom line.
No, I don't take things personal. Don't worry about it.
We go other way around here. We do our show different. That's what make us different. So anyway, we want to let you know that we don't know how to go, because you can go extra much. This is our guest.
Let me tell you, I'm a second. No, let me tell you, y'all think I'm high here because some other people trying to are responsible. Some other high.
No, we allow you to do that on this show. We'll cut you off.
Y'all probably drop me off if you get.
Yeah, we make our hair soft.
Anyway,
he and myself will go on one-on-one. Ain't say we should go on one-on-one.
All right.
You just
Okay.
I want to make a quick comment. I want to ask quick comment.
Let me ask this question. Sorry, Chima. Let me ask this question.
Okay, before you ask the question, Chief, please make a note to apologize to Molba Yobo. Molba Yobo came on this show and sat for nearly 20 minutes. You ain't getting 1 second to
No, Molba will come back. Molba just cannot call. I think he cannot call. He will come back. If he doesn't come tonight, I'll take him on a separate day, or maybe on Friday, and we'll talk. Myself been talking in the background actually here. But the thing I wanted to ask, with all these rigmaroles going on in the CPP, and parties breaking away, going their pieces, individually here, we all have different abilities to assess, to diagnose problems, and to analyze, and probably to conclude. I'll go around the table. And the major question here is, what do we foresee in the next 6 months? I don't want us to drag it that long, but in the next 6 months, what do we foresee happening on the political landscape concerning the progress, the future of the CPP? Let me start with Sis Yasini, because she runs a show, so probably she's been thinking about something.
Well, let's look at this first. If I was to give an import, I think CPP will stand. Number one, it has brand recognition. You don't need to, you just need a little bit of maybe beefing up. The Liberian people have bought into the ideology of the CPP. If anybody thinks that if you establish something, you don't need a lot of triggering, people will not jump off, people will not jump in, then you have not built anything yet. Majority of the people were changers, vision care barriers, who started. Sometimes the people that started with didn't go along with them. I can tell you for free. Zuckerberg, whom platform you and I are talking on, he started with a group of students. They didn't stay on because of the role. The journey took longer than they anticipated. People fell off. Today, he's a multi-billionaire because he stayed the course. Bill Gates, they will tell you that. Even if you go to the Herbert story with Einstein, all of that, when Einstein came up with his theory, they said those things could never happen. Today, we've been to space. You and I, you're sitting in Europe, I'm sitting in my room, assuming sick, and we're talking to people in Liberia. All of these things people say were not possible yesterday. I believe in possibilities. Unlimited one too. I think Alexander Cummings is the next president of the Republic of Liberia. The silent voters are more than we who yell and scream. We saw that in the last election. There were over 300,000+ people who did not go back to vote after the 2.1 million people that registered. Okay, and in the first round and second round. So there was more than about 40% of people who rejected. I say about, so I don't have the exact number before me, who rejected both political parties. So, and situation is not constant. Things are changing. Because things are changing, a guy called me today who came from burying his brother in Liberia. This is a guy who could never stand to call my platform. He inboxed me. He talked to me for almost 30 minutes. His brother was taken to the hospital and they won't treat him, and he died. And he just came from Liberia. His mind is changed. So the silent voters will go out. and they will vote for their children. They will vote for themselves and for the future. I see we'll go through the ups and downs. It's a journey. It's a journey. You remember the story of Obama. So, but we have to stay the course. We have to work harder. You got people that add on board. You got Paul in and out of Liberia. All of us need to make a trip. All of us need to talk to our people. All of us need to reach our little villages and our little town and tell them what's at stake. The future is at stake. So I see the CPP going to the election and the CPP winning. Why you think they're chasing Mr. Cummings? Mr. Cummings is the only threat. Nobody else is. That's where we are. So that's what I see.
Okay.
Can
Mr.
I leave
Tupac.
now? Oh, sorry.
I think it's simple. It's about the people. It should always be about the people.
Yes.
When we get 8 months from now, it will be about how the people are living. Have their lives improved?
Yes.
Are these people doing anything? So whether CPP or no CPP, the people will get to 2023 October and they have to make a decision. Has my life changed from since they got into power in January 2018 to now? If it hasn't changed, do I feel he has the potential to make changes for me, for the future, for my children? And those are things that we got to tell people. Most times, I don't even tell people, say, vote for Mr. Cummings or, vote for me when I ran. No, I just gave you the scenario because we got to enlighten our people for them to be able to make decisions. So for CPP itself, we already see people are leaving the CPP. But like Yasini said, I believe CPP is a brand. I believe people are buying into the fact that they want political parties to come together. The multiple options, the 21 candidates, is not going to do anything for people. Many of those people are just briefcase parties trying to get to some position. So to the extent that the Mr. Cummings and the ANC and the Liberty Party, because I know they talk about the nonsense about the Liberty Party leaving the CPP, but no, the Liberty Party will stay with the CPP. Musa Ability and his team are still with the CPP. If we can attract other political parties, and there are other political heavyweights that stay out there that are undecided, that still need engagement. And we have to start those engagements now. We have to start having serious consideration. Who are the vice presidential potentials that we can work with? The CPP can sustain. Because at the end of the day, I don't believe anybody will win first round straight. If anybody beat first round, it will be a surprise to me, and it will be Mr. Cummings. But I don't see anybody really winning first round. So there will be a second round. There will be a choice for people to either choose a new direction or to choose the status quo. And that's when, people have to make up their mind. This thing about people having political blocks and will just influence vote. No, it's about, can you convince individuals? Can you reach to, segments of society? Can we tell the marketeers how we can make a difference for them? Can we tell the Shushan Can we tell the pimping drivers? Can we tell some of our youths who want to see a better future but have not been able to grasp anything in this government's leadership to say this is what they are trying to do for us? If I follow steps 1, 2, 3, 4, I will be a successful Liberian, either in my country or be able to go other country to be successful. The market women, the professionals. Some professionals are stagnated in Liberia right now. You think we don't have competent people in Liberia? We do. But unfortunately, there's a whole bunch of insecurity that if the life of anybody improve or if somebody is able to make money, they will use it against this government. So there is no inclination for them to actually make the total environment of, welcoming place and enabling environment for Liberians to benefit. They will quicker do things with foreigners than they will do things with Liberians, especially the Liberians who are not bootlickers or ring kissers. So I really believe the CPP is going to be there. If we are committed to that cause to condense the political space and bring more people to the table, like Mr. Cummings says, it's a big tent. There's room for more people. As much as our people like to have their own little fiefdom, their own little territory and be possessive about it, he's trying to lift that kind of mindset and make sure that we can all, cohabit in a space and be able to benefit if we can work as hard as we want to. So let's go to 2023 and, we'll see the changes we want.
Yeah, Jamel, Paul, anything else?
I just want to run quickly before Sis Yasine, Mr. Tupa leaves. Quickly, I just want to say, well, they have made a good analysis of valid points. CPP will survive. It's a brand, as you said. But look, one thing I've just admired a lot is Mr. Cummings reaching out. He's talking the bread and butter issue right now. He's reaching out to people. We've seen all over the place, and that matters. We saw the last elections, the representative elections, where you see individual want more the political parties. So if you reach out to the people, you sell out, we're going to win. So Mr. Kumi believe in a brand, and also we do believe in the CPP as a brand. So that need to go. We need to market that very well. And when we push it, we also as ANC push it as CPP. It works very well. So I believe CPP will survive and with the in cooperation of other political parties. And like Mr. Tupa said, second round is what matters. But when you make your case second round, you incorporate others. We're going to win this. I think we're in for good. We all believe in it. This is why we are all here. So let's go get around and push the case of CPP and also I say ANC. But the person is Mr. Cummings. The thing he's doing right now, 6 months ago, we had different story about him. You heard what you said about him. He was not he couldn't reach out to people. He was a corporate person. A lot of stories about him. Today, he's a different person. See in Waterside. I mean, security is not an issue anymore. He's shaking hand, moving all over the place. And they want to have pictures with him, selfie rolling everywhere. So the case is, he's out there. He's making a case. And let's push that case. That is what we're going for. So CPP, ANC, all the way. Trust me.
That's right. Let me just dive in for a few minutes. It's going to hold. If you're on the ground, I was on the ground not long ago. You speak to Liberian, they tell you, say, we'll wait come 2023. They're telling you what's going to happen 2023. So if Mr. Cummings or whoever sell their agenda well to the people, it could even be first round. People are fed up. Although there'll be second round, it's the agenda, the message that is carrying. People keep saying, come 2023, we'll make that decision. So people are ready, especially the independent voter, they don't talk. So I think the CPP will hold is bringing people on and then expand the base and move forward. So I say was right. So therefore, I think that's it. But I just want to throw something in. For our listening audience, people keep hearing this thing about Mr. Cummings have clean hands and this, but what is his agenda or platform that he's running on to get lay it for our audience, if you can?
Should I lay it or should I share it on the screen and walk through it for a little bit?
If you can do for a few minutes, that would be great.
Let me do that because sometimes when they talk, they will say I'm not talking. So let me just try to find it right here.
Well, what I say is finding that piece of information for us, for our listeners. We just want to inform you, if you join us for the first time, this is the bottom line. Here we discuss the issue from the top to the bottom, and we get the final understanding of it. And besides that, we respect each other's opinion. We may differ in opinion, may disagree, but at the end of the day, we settle and we respect, because of course we cannot decide what one thinks and what one wants to say. So we just have to accept it. And then you, our audience, if you come here and try to insult people, I'm reading most of the comments there, and you insulting people, you are not helping yourself, you are not helping anybody. You are only hurting your own feeling, because you can insult somebody the whole day, you'll not change, because I see a lot of people throwing tantrums at Asik Topa here, but you are not changing him. You are not stopping the boat from being sold. Nothing you're doing. You see, so I think to respect each and every one of us, you come here, you get listen to us. If you don't want to listen, you walk away, and that's it. So, but you are welcome. If you want to make a contribution to the show, you can call on the number.
Well, who insults? No. You gotta be honest with the people. Only limited people who don't have the intelligence will insult. I mean, I feel sorry for them because it doesn't affect me. So we just gotta pray for them, for them to try to get some sense and some emotional intelligence. Really, seriously, honestly, only dumb people who don't have the intelligence will just insult because they don't have the ability to carry a conversation. They don't have that ability to, express themselves properly. So because of that, they will insult.
Okay. Do you have that document for us?
No, before I go to the document, sometimes we got to dispel some of the myths that our people carry around, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's the perception. One of the people who commented here, they implied that, you know, a tight vagina is based on somebody who doesn't run around, you know. And I disagree with our perspective. It's a woman's choice if the woman wants to be out there, engaged with different men and stuff, you know, or whatever she wants to do. And that does not in any way means that, you know, her vagina will be any bigger because she has multiple sex partners or she choose, you know, to sleep with different people, you know, in a community or wherever. So that's a misperception, that having multiple partners or having gone from one man to the other means somebody cannot be tight vaginally. No, you know.
Well, I think I also want to, you know, have a different opinion on that as well. We are not medical people here, but you know,
And you entitled.
yeah,
Those are some of the discussions we need to bring to our people because
yeah.
there's so many
Okay,
wrong
let me give
perceptions.
you let me make this analogy. Let me make this analogy where you have 4 pair of shoes, but you choose one of the pair of shoes to wear every day, every day, every day, every day. You even walk away in the ring. And then compare that pair of shoes to the rest of the pair of shoes that you're not wearing all the time, because you know we're taking a discussion to a different level, dude. But I mean, like you said, this is time to educate people, because
Yeah.
or else we're going to live in certain corner of our minds that, you know, there are certain things that cannot be talked about, and certain things, and of course we deny ourselves the knowledge that we should have. So how do you look at that, the analogy that I just made?
No, I mean, that's a body part you are talking about compared with, you know,
But don't forget about tear and wear. There is something called tear and wear.
yeah, there is wear and tear on different, you know, joints, muscles, everything. I don't disagree,
No.
but
You-
I'm just saying for those who, you know, probably understand the kind of contraction, the kind of different things that people can do, you know, they won't just make that assumption. But anyway, if you guys allow me, I will share my screen to touch on this particular stuff what we're talking about. Oh,
Yeah.
share screen. I want to share a window. So y'all can see my screen?
Let me see. Oh.
Nope.
No, I'm not
No?
seeing it. I don't know
Wow.
whether. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we see.
Now we
Yeah, we see the
can.
screen. Yeah.
All right. So this is Mr. Cummings's vision for Liberia. So just a little bit about Mr. Cummings here. You know, he's a businessman. He founded his own company, Cummings Investment Holding. He's also the founder of Cummings Africa Foundation. That's the nonprofit that does a lot of different humanitarian stuff for our people, medical supplies, education, assistance with people, paying tuition for people, scholarships, paying registration for LU students and everything. Everybody know by now he's the political leader of the ANC. He was born and raised in Monrovia. His father was a teacher and pastor. His mom was a market woman and a midwife. He went to Cottington Alma Mater for a little bit before he went abroad. He has a bachelor's in finance and a minor in economics from Northern Illinois University. Then he went and did his MBA at Clark Atlanta University. He has been married. Contrary to that nonsense, some people can be talking about it for 39, we're 40 years now because we got the anniversary just passed. And he has 2 children, Ayo and Boyka. And he got 5 grandchildren. Just Sunday, I believe, his daughter-in-law had a new baby. So he now has 5 grandchildren. So Mr. Cummings really believe that we can take Liberia into the 21st century. You know, our economy has the potential to grow and to be diversified and attract foreign direct investments. And we can actually attract foreign investment in the areas that we are lacking, whether it's value addition, whether it's our tourism sector, whether it's our agriculture sector. All of those areas are areas that we can attract investment in. And we all question for us to move our economy forward, we need low cost power. We need clean and safe drinking water. You all now see all the different kind of dirty water our people can drink. I mean, most of the places rural Monrovia, outside Monrovia, even in Monrovia, right in the city, there are people there drinking dirty water. So all of these are factors that will drive our development. And it's very important for people to understand that government is responsible for some basic services to Liberians. And as a leader, Mr. Cummings is very committed to providing that. So we look at, this, how important it is. We can't escape that. Then what Mr. Cummings is doing, that's what people have been asking for, engaging the hearts and minds of the Liberian people. That's why he's involved with them, he's reaching to them. Because a lot of times, sometimes when people think about something, they think about it in a small space, and they're limited in how they expose themselves to so many other things. But Mr. Cummings is looking at nearly everything, the diversity of Liberia, whether it's the religion, whether like the culture, and do we have one culture? Is there any standard culture in Liberia? I tend to disagree that there is, but there's certain beliefs that people hold. That's what makes it a culture. Then there's the whole thing about sports. There's the thing about arts. All of those things are part of what brings us together as a people. Then the fundamentals in terms of early childhood education and national service, where people can volunteer and help the country. So those are the kind of things that Mr. Cummings believes that we engage Liberians, will bring us together, will unify us, and will be able for us to get into each other's hearts and minds and care more about each other, be more nationalistic, be more patriotic. And one of the major things that kill our country is corruption. So that's why the status quo is a threat. Mr. Cummings speaks about clean hands and governance, proper governance. He believes that we have a very, very corrupt system right now. I believe that too, and I see it all the time, from Town to Charleston to Ellen, to the transition government, to Ellington, to this weird government. And right now, corruption is worse because it's not even like there any restriction. Everybody at every level is very, very corrupt in government, unfortunately. And the people too. We can't leave that out because corruption is two ways. So tackling corruption is very important. There's wasteful spending. Back a few years ago, John Muller and I did a paper on fraud, waste, and abuse. And there's just so much waste in our system, so much fraud, So those are the things that Mr. Cummings, with better governance, will be able to look at. And part of that governance is also decentralization, trying to empower our municipalities more, our counties, that the resources in those counties are benefiting the counties, not like what we just saw with Meta Steel and the people in Nimba crying, not what we see like in Cape Man with Orioles mining. You go places I think Wieswa, where used to be the diamond capital of Liberia. When you look at it right now, you just see old cleaning machine there, old diamond machine, and the people just suffering. Most importantly, it's about creating jobs and revitalizing the economy. We got sectors we just mentioned before, the mining, small factories, small manufacturing, agro processing. We have the ability to grow food, to feed so many different other countries, especially now with the continental free trade in Africa. We have a huge opportunity for us to be able to feed those areas that don't have it. Housing and construction, which is important. Housing is a major problem right now. The conditions that people live in Liberia, the housing that they have is like worse than 1822 in some areas, and then the potential for tourism. So there's a huge potential to create jobs here, but it's about investors' confidence. Just today, I was talking to one of my friends who had an opportunity to bring $30 million investment to the country. The people even bring the investment, they made 1 cent. People in Liberian government are asking for $5 million. And that's not unique. That's standard. That's customary. And that needs to change. We cannot develop at this rate with our different sectors that need huge monetary investments, that people will try to extort people for money before they can even, start the investment and be able to turn a profit. So those are the kind of things, creating jobs and revitalizing the economy. That's what Mr. Cummings talks about. That's what he's capable of doing. That's what he can attract to this country, because people will believe in his ability to administer the state. And then the agricultural sector we just talked about. We got wonderful, even with climate change. I think climate change will even be to our advantage, where we may get more rain, we may get less dry season. But there's also technology that exists in agriculture to take us to that level, utilizing the amount of groundwater we have, being able to redirect it and get it back into the field for our crops. being able to build better cooperatives, being able to target certain sectors, whether it's the cocoa sector or the coffee sector or the pineapple sector or something. Find that market out there that needs what we can provide. So it's just important for us to recognize the potential and the ability of somebody who can drive that potential to reduce poverty in our country through the agriculture sector, and the opportunity is there. Unfortunately, I expected this government to do that. We have not done it. The agriculture sector is still stagnant, and a lot of people are not benefiting from the land, and we have the potential to benefit from the land. Then we talk about healthcare. I mean, again, if it's just sad. Do you know? I don't even know the name of the drug, but this one guy was telling me the drug that stops TB, the vaccine for the babies. Nearly a year we have been ordered it. So if the increase in neonatal deaths is there, is because they are not being protected from things like TB, even the HIV medication. You know, it's just sad that we just depend on other countries or the international community for everything. These drugs run out. Our own people will not spend the government's money to purchase these things. They will have to wait until foreign people come and bring money, which is bad. We have to modernize our healthcare. We have to provide opportunities. We have to make our hospitals, referral hospitals, much better than they are today. There are so many Liberian healthcare professionals that are all over the world. Right there in Europe, I know y'all got many. I know for a fact we got many here. We put a list of 200 together, John Molo and I, to supply to this government earlier. They never did anything with it. There can be a serious rotation with technology. Any doctor can come and pick up on a patient from where another doctor left off. So it's about developing that rotation. Right now, I'm working with somebody to do the same thing for South Africa. So the opportunity is there for us to be able to attract our professionals to come to the country, to be able to have fun, at the same time work and make a difference for our people, if we can even organize our healthcare sector. So all those things are important in education. We can't even talk enough about education. Look at how many kids are in the street. Look at how many kids drop out. I told you, a young lady who works at Ministry of Education who handle dropout. The dropout rate is huge, and our girls are just dropping out. We know the situation in schools, the harassment from teachers, the sex for grades. And then when they come in their community, they're not even protected. So we have to protect our young people. We have to give them a strong education foundation. Unfortunately for us today, many people in education are not properly trained, and they got something called garbage in, garbage out. If people are not teaching kids the right thing, kids don't see so many. You can see all the errors on social media because people have not seen some of the words written before. All they have done is heard it, and which limit their ability to really understand and expand their knowledge. But we need technology, which is important to accelerate the education process. We need vocational training for our young people who may not go back to school. Somebody who's 18, 19, 20 years old and stop in the third, fourth grade, then come and go sit down in classroom again to catch up for another 9 years. No, we got to find a way to teach them up. We got to find industries or sectors that will relate to those kind of short-term training. And one of those areas is really business process operations outsourcing, where we can bring, some technology stuff to teach people on technology, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's network administration, whether it's database manipulation stuff, some of the basics in those things, and some of these customer service related services that are in those sectors, they don't require, totally formal education for an extended period of time. You can teach people up and they can be able to take those steps, so we just hope that people understand where Mr. Cummings' vision is, and he focus on education, on healthcare, on agriculture, on infrastructure, and the fact that we need to change our mindset as a people, because everybody knows if the mindset is bad, we are really, really not going where we want to go. So I stopped sharing it. I hope that was enlightening for people to understand, Mr. Cummings' vision for this country. And undercutting all of that is the fact that women and youth are very critical. I know sometimes they don't talk about men and everything, but women and youth are very critical. Our women are the bastion of our society. They really hold it down. I know I live in a household where my mom really was the one who was really progressive, really pushing for things to happen for us. We go to Ministry of Education, if we take exam and our grades didn't come the right way, and fight to see our test papers, go to our school if there were issues. So the women, they are the ones who really hold it down for the families, and we should give them that preference. There should be more equality. That's why the outrage about take vaginally is just crazy when all the women issues are out there that people are not taking care of, whether it's women health, whether it's the abuse they suffer from men, whether it's the rape, whether it's the sex for grades, sex for jobs, sex for promotion. People are not talking about those things, whether it's equality. Getting a woman can do this job in Liberia and a man doing the same job, the man most likely will be paid more. Makes no sense at all. Women are as competent as we are, sometimes even much more competent than we are. So all these things about women in the political space, encouraging them from the time they're young to participate, whether it's school elections, school politics, or whatever. Encourage them, empower them, make them think that they can do and be able to say positive things about them, not just see them, as sex objects. Because many times, by the time they start getting knocked on the chest, the men then chasing the young girls, then that's why we have so much teenage pregnancies. We have them suffering from fistula. Their bodies are not developed enough to carry a baby to term, and then they get all these different things that affect them. So Mr. Cummings is really about changing this country. His focus is to see how he can make a difference, how he can convince Liberians that his mindset, his vision is where it can take us to the next level. And I don't see anybody else, whether it's Boyka, whether it's Weah, whether it's some of the other candidates out there that can present a vision like Mr. Cummings and have the ability, the gravitas, the exposure, the network to be able to bring all those things together and lead this country. So, I just want to share with people what Mr. Cummings' vision is, and I hope more people have understood it, and I hope we can share this video after the fact, that people can come on and watch it and see the direction that Mr. Cummings want to take our country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tukpa. We'll have these conversations as many times as we can. Fast forward, leading to elections, because this is a campaign time. Virtually, this is a campaign time, and
But Joe, we have started the campaign.
Yeah.
150 motorbike and he 30 cars for the chief then.
Yeah, so this
But
is a
many
campaign
other
time.
chief
We can shy away from that fight. Not because people are not carrying banners around, but indirectly people are doing it. But like I said, we'll be having these conversations as many times as we can, and the bottom line here is going to be your home. Expect us to knock on your door anytime, unexpectedly, when something pops up that we know you can contribute to. I don't know if there is any other thing that Paul would like to say, or Jamel would like to say, because our time is actually fast spent, and we don't want to tie you down, because you might say next time we want to reach you, you say, "Oh, that you got it." When they carry me, they can keep me for 2 or 3 hours. So, gentlemen, quickly, is there anything you want our guest to talk about that he didn't talk about, and then we can get his final words and let's quit.
Well,
Okay,
Jamarco.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, crashing now.
Thank you, Mr. Avad. Thank you for coming. We like your contribution to ANC. When you were the chief of staff, was a great thing. Your connections, relating to all from this end was really incredible. We built a network that was very good. I think you still reach out to us despite you out of the office. We appreciate that, and we also we're very grateful that you answer to our call when we were called upon by our regional commander of Europe, Mr. Paul Chulopli. Another thing, we also to like the DOC of Europe, Mr. Linford said, that we always want to reach out to you because there are a lot of questions to ANC. Top guy like you, top guns like the ANC would like to answer in the future. Another thing, just to bring, I want to make an announcement here. We're working on the radio online for Butterline. We will let you get to you. We're putting across there. We stay doing some test broadcast. We may get to you. That's not face to face. That's on the air. So we'll not see your face, but we'll get you to one of these days.
Face ugly now. Okay.
No, I mean you can sit anywhere and do. You don't have to be.
Right.
It's not pictorial. You don't have to see your face. You can sit anywhere in your corner. We're in your pajamas and talk to us. That's what I mean. So nothing much to say. Just great time. I like the way you handle the issue with our sister Andre. I hope you said you're not something personal, but this is how we behave here. We sometimes go crazy, and you've been there. This guy really not invited. Why are they treating me like this? So this is how we are different from our show. So just to say thank you for coming, and nothing special. But I think I got a lot of questions for you on the next program. But for now, I'd like to keep it for next time. Thank you very much for coming.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Arcee, for accepting our invitation. It was great having a great interaction with you. And this one make it bottom line. And we have our sister who everybody admire on the show. She's the firing power of this show. So sometimes when she's not on, I get called, where is Andre? So you you accept Andre, she gave it to you the
Well,
way
I'm laughing at something else, and I will read it for you. I'm actually laughing at something else. Sorry, it's not Andre. Andre
it's
is
all
like a
right.
little sister. She's okay.
It's all right. So it was, I mean, I wanted to have a good interaction with Mobile Yoko, but unfortunately, he have to leave. I think we'll get him back another time. So it was great interacting with you. So we would love to have you back soon. As we into the campaign time now and all the good information you gave, I think a lot of people need to hear some of those things out there because people keep talking about, oh, the men get clean hands. That's all they know. So they need to be educated on what Mr. Cummings is going to bring on the table. So we need to do more of that. So I'll say thanks. It was a great show.
Thank you. I mean, in my
Okay, I
previous
say
role,
read that funny thing, share with us.
so the thing say one idiot is one idiot. Two idiots are two idiots. 10,000 idiots are a political party.
Oh,
That,
God.
It's
that's
a
that's a
French
good one.
Kafka. So, sometimes really political parties, people can really be stupid political parties.
Just
But
I tell
no,
you,
I really, I really
sometimes
enjoy
people.
myself with you all, and I look forward to coming back. We should find every opportunity. And in my previous capacity, I did not have the time to be able to come and argue and discuss and try to elucidate and illuminate the minds of people. But I have that freedom and that opportunity now, to be able to do that more. I do have a show on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern time, so that's 6 p.m. GMT. I don't know what time it is for you people, but um, the show is called Weekend Review, and we're also trying to build the ANC communication platform. So we'll be having more diverse voices of the ANC, coming through to ANC TV, which is actually on Facebook page now, ANC Liberia TV, that will be streaming a lot of different information too, and we'll be getting, trying to get on the radio as well. So the idea is to bring the message to people. There will be people who would disagree. Some people don't like for people to disagree with them. I don't mind people disagreeing with me because they are entitled to their opinion. It shows that they're thinking. We all not machines to just agree on the same thing. So it's fine. Those people who insult, we can't worry about them because that means they're limited. They can't go beyond those 4-letter words or those insult words to be able to make a case or break down an issue or discuss the pertinent substantive things that are affecting our country. So I just empathize with them, sympathize with them when they cannot express themselves appropriately. So, we just have to continue to see that vision, to believe that Mr. Cummings is our vision bearer, that he can move the ANC to the level we want, and be consistent in our messaging, be consistent in our outlook, start focusing more on what we think we can do for the Liberian people, what Mr. Cummings' capabilities are, and not necessarily denouncing people. Yeah, there will be propaganda here and there will be criticism here and there, but our focus really is to sell. Get as low level we can into our communities, engage people, those who are not in Liberia. Telephone works, WhatsApp works, Messenger works. Try to get to our people, try to convince them what the right way to go, and familiarize yourself with this presentation or the different issues that we are focused on, how we expect to make a difference for the people. And that's why I will try to focus on bread and butter issues. I have a whole list of items in each of these categories we just talked about that directly relate to different segments of our society, how working with the ANC can help improve you, how making Mr. Cummings president can make a difference for you and your children down the road. So that should be the path we take. I'm excited that you guys invited me. Hopefully we'll be able to come back another time to touch on other critical issues that are affecting our country. So thank you.
Quickly, before you go, I want you to send us the link of your weekly program so we can have it on our online radio. So as it comes, so you pick a relay automatically to our audience also. We want that link. You can pass on to us. We can pass on to Paul. You will send across so we can always, every time we set up like a relay program, the schedule, anytime you come, whether you are not, it will just pick automatically. The relay program goes on. While you're on live, we also follow up here live.
Also, it'll be live for you too.
Yeah, we have it live. Once you pick up, we are not there. We just go on live for us. It's online. We just go have it online.
I will
Yeah?
send a link. I will
So
send a
like
link, and then
like
we can
today's
test it. We
program,
can test it before Friday. We can test it
yeah,
before
like
Friday.
today's program is actually live on the radio now.
Where in Liberia or just the online?
Everywhere,
Online.
online
So
radio.
we're trying to
So we're trying to, yeah, we're trying
we
to
want to
spread it
send
down
it
to
all
next
over.
Anybody
year.
who clicks
In
on that link
Liberia,
will
be
hear
hearing
you.
as
Can be
well.
you can be in Butuo, you'll hear it.
Yeah.
So wait, if I'm in Liberia today, right
Mhm.
now, and I wanted to listen to this show, what station I will go to?
That's no, but that's what we're trying to work on now. But on your telephone, you can just listen to any other online. It's an app we're developing.
Okay,
We-
so
we
we need partner radio stations to be able to carry it. Right?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can work on that. Even though some people will be scared, they think the government will shut them down, but not part of it.
Okay.
Well,
Andre is here. You give a last word.
Yes, Andre is there.
Yeah, oh, Andre King, Andre. Sorry, it was also I didn't see you. Your light shining so brightly. Definitely the light I could see. Okay, give the last word.
Just want to say thanks to Isaac for coming on, and I hope you don't take anything personal on this platform. And yeah, I hope to see you again.
No problem. We're not going anywhere. That's what people should know. They country for all. We're not going anywhere, and there should be a
You
country.
go anywhere before you run away.
There should be
Thank God they put in a cartoon to send you over to Freetown.
And they say you are crying. What are you crying for? Because the country is now a country of laws.
I said, she the one. That
It's
morning I
easier
went to work.
kill me than to
I was,
try
I
to
was,
kill
she the
me.
one told me. She said, "Here, what is going to do?" I said, "What happened?" When I go look, she said, and you know, she said, "Hey, when that one happen, we'll call it." I said, "Wait, what happened for you?"
Back in the day, I used to laugh at one of my friends because when we playing football, soon we start eating boo and playing fire. They say, "Experience on fire." Better to say, "There goes the coward and here lies the brave." He lead the team.
Exactly.
I used to get vexed with him. And
I think our sister.
But in this case,
Yasini, I don't know, Yasini, you say that?
well, no, I don't think she there.
No,
When you
she
fighting a
ain't.
system that are controlling the guns, are controlling everything, you got to live to fight another day.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
live to fight another time. You see the little lawnmower boy going, and he ran away. Then he was sitting there talking. Oh,
Why you
I
have
said,
to
why he
run?
can't ask me?
Don't mind that Indian job, man. I mean,
Nah, real job.
Take that out.
that picking got low emotional intelligence, but we're helping raise it up.
I'm
Yeah, man,
telling
you know
you.
your country is a little. But
Yeah.
gentlemen, I'll let you,
I
ladies
see
and
y'all.
gentlemen. Eh?
Okay, ask.
Y'all can cast it with me now. Going,
Yeah, we
I'm
can.
talking
You
about-
gotta
No, we're not gonna sit down.
Well, when we wanted to say, they had finished saying it to you, so nobody else, right?
So
So
y'all take
thank you
care.
very much for being with us, Isaac, and we see you another time.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
Okay. To
Go
our team, it's a
down.
wonderful work. We did a wonderful work tonight, and I'm so proud of us. And we getting there little by little. And Jamel,
Are we offline
Paul,
now?
and Patrick, let's keep the work going. We are not off air yet. We stay on air, but we just monitoring ourselves here. We're not praising ourselves though, but we got to tap ourselves on the shoulder, right? Guys,
And
you agree
thanks
with
to
me?
our viewers. Thanks to our viewers.
And our viewers, thanks for being there. Like Andre said, thanks for being there because without you, this show is not a show. And please share the video right after the show. Continue to share it and ask your friends to share it as well. And we'll be going out now.